So it is Wednesday night. It is 9:03 p.m. Yeah, 3 minutes late, but it's okay. Welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me, as always, is Ashley.
Oh, the giving of thanks.
I'm a little bit late, but I understand. So,
well, most of the stuff we're talking about happened over that weekend, so
that's true. Good point. Now, I was really trying to be at Full Sail tonight for the NXT tapings, but it was not to be. Hopefully in 2018, I will return to Full Sail. We'll see what happens.
I still want to know what this clash of the schedule was. Is FSU... Well, no, it's not even FSU, is it? It's Full State, is it?
No.
I'm trying to work out what the schedule is, which means they can't tape there.
Full Sail basically does Full Sail do a lot of production work that's not just NXT. So it could be something involving that.
Then it probably... or something.
So if you are new to this show, this is the show where we talk about anything and everything professional wrestling. Probably. So we got a lot of stuff to discuss tonight.
Yeah.
WWE stuff from Smackdown, 205 Live, NXT. We got Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then we got Impact. We got the world of mixed martial arts, including the UFC. And news and results from all around the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast. Ashley, let's kick off with Smackdown.
Oh, the moment where Owen cheers for 2 weeks running.
Yes.
So Sheamus is starting. Shane O'Mac is starting off.
Wow. It's going to be one of those nights, folks.
He ain't happy with what happened last week. So he wants Bryan to come out. And Daniel's like, why didn't you fire them? And Bryan rightfully goes, as somebody that's been fired before, I think people deserve second chances. Yeah, they probably shouldn't have interfered, but sometimes your temper can get the best of you, Shane. And Shane's like, yeah, Kevin beat up my dad. How's my temper? Sami Zayn got involved in a Hell in a Cell match. Check. They betrayed the entire roster. Check. And Daniel said that, look, they did it in the spirit of competition. They were trying to grasp the brass ring. I see a real talent in both of them. And if you fire them both, they'll just go straight back to Raw. And Shane just goes, oh, well, then they'll just be my sister's problem. And Daniel's like, look, when you hired me, I wasn't supposed to be a yes man to agree with you. I'm there to recognize the talent, give them the opportunity to be the best that they can. You know, I want to be trusted, and so you trust me to make the decisions. And he's like, okay, well, in that regard, I like the fact the Orton deal happened, but the match is no DQ, and Sami Zayn is barred from ringside. So then New Day have got pancakes, and Benjamin and Gable are looking at the nutritional content of Booty-O's because they're having a match in a minute. So then Sammy's with Kevin backstage, and they're talking about stacking the deck against them. And Sammy says, Dan sees Bryan and says, oh, you're the reason I won. You know, I want to make sure that I'm not banned from ringside. And, you know, Kevin's just like, you know, I'm being sent to the gallows by it becoming a no DQ match. And Daniel's like, Why have you got to make demands, Sammy? I'd like to keep my job as well, so, how about no? So the Usos are on commentary for this one. Then, interestingly, Big E gives the Usos the pancakes and syrup from his tights. That happened. Pretty decent match. With Gable and Benjamin and New Day. The New Day combination this time was Kingston and Woods, and they did get the win with Xavier kicking Benjamin in the head, off, basically jumping off a turnbuckle. So I guess a sort of flying super kick, style, or a drop kick, I guess. Or it was 1 foot, but
I'd have to have seen it, to be honest.
So then you got Charlotte, Naomi, and Natalia in the back, because they're facing Ruby, Sarah, and Liv. And Natalia's like, look, let's be honest. They saved your title reign, Charlotte, but I'm willing to put all aside the issues to deal with them. They won't be making their names off the women of SmackDown. Hopefully they enjoyed their 5 minutes of fame, because after tonight, nobody will remember their names. Oh, we will, for all the wrong fucking reasons. So it's the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Hype Bros, which is over in about a minute. Harper and Rowan winning with the T gimmick.
They're literally using the T gimmick.
I don't. That's the finisher.
That makes me very happy.
And then Zach and Mojo are interviewed, and Zach's like, "Look, we got to change because we've hit rock bottom." And then Mojo attacks Zach from behind, and then he's like, oh, "What did I do?" And then he beats the shit out of him again, and then says the Hype Bros are dead.
Well, let me speak on that. First off, welcome to chat, Freddie Merchan. And secondly, let's just use this opportunity to have Zack Ryder win a very short feud and send Mojo back to NXT.
The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal guy isn't going back to NXT.
Oh, just future endeavor him then. That works better.
I love it, Michael.
Zack Ryder deserves so much better. From looking at the Bludgeon Brothers, they kind of remind me of like a hyped up version of the Highlanders. That's the vibe I get.
Are they going to be on Impact soon then?
Oh, I doubt it.
Well, they could easily go.
Yeah. Zack Ryder, thankfully, is far away from this god-awful tag team now. And now, once he gets out of this short run against Mojo, Zack can finally move on to singles glory yet again. Maybe they'll finally realize that they made a big mistake when they didn't push him to the fullest of his potential back when they had a chance to. Ryder at one point was more over than The Rock. Madison Square Garden, they were chanting for Zack Ryder when The Rock was out there. And WWE dropped the ball on him. I know I'm super biased, but still, it's a fact.
It's a fact of life.
Exactly.
Oh, no. So when Mojo's interview backstage, he says, the landscape has changed. That's all he said. Fuck off. And Bobby Roode's being asked about Baron Corbin last week, with the lumberjack deal, and Bobby's like, that wasn't accidental. Yeah, when Baron calls me absent-minded, it clearly wasn't a mistake, He may be the lone wolf, but I know there's somebody smarter that will take the title from him. Baron's lashing out at anybody that he sees as a threat. And in my opinion, that threat is absolutely... And then Baron comes in and says, if you think I'm afraid, you're not glorious. You're delirious. Okay, put the title against me tonight. And Baron's just like, no! And runs. Well, he doesn't run, but sort of the equivalent.
So he's delirious, eh? Baron Corbin doesn't realize what promotion he's in half the time with the people that he's working against. So, okay.
Go back to Dragon Gate. So the Singhs, well, Jinder attacks AJ before, and the Singhs eventually, before we even get to the handicap match. Who gives a fuck? AJ wins.
Yeah, I think the Singhs are on their way out. Sounds like it's a good possibility.
And then Sunil gets the Kalas. And then Samir gets some fucking move. It wasn't the Kalas, because it was botched to all fucking hell.
I have to see this, but I have a feeling it's going to be a very hard thing to see.
This is on the Mania or a botch.
I'm sure it will be. Matthew, get on that.
So NXT, which fucking stable is this, shows up. And Ruby introduces them as the Riot Squad. Okay, better fucking name than Absolution.
I like that, but I don't understand the Taz. I understand why, but the Tazification of Heidi Lovelace is kind of.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that because we're actually getting to the important bit. You know, Liv goes, the Queen might be a little foggy after last week, and Ruby goes, Becky's probably still in traction in Houston. She's in fucking London doing Marine 6. Why not promote it? Hell, you're fucking expanding into television and other stuff, you stupid cunts.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Now, we're not here to friends or to try out for Total Divas. By the way, they'll be on it fucking next year, tell you.
Oh, God, I hope not. Probably.
We're here to turn the Smackdown Women's Division upside down. Oh, fuck. Oh, no, actually, that means Lana actually will become champion. That's good.
I'm okay with that.
And Liv says she's a firecracker and is going to be popping like the 4th of July, which the crowd openly laughed at. So it's like,
yeah.
Dear God, what's... You know, you can tell that she was trying to do it sternly, but with a line like that, it's like, what fucking Carry On film did you watch?
It's clear. Oh, Ashley, you know my distaste for Liv Morgan. I've never really bought into her at all. But I will say right now, she's not a heel.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge mistake. She is not a heel. She's a babyface.
Sort of the same with Mandy Rose to some extent.
No, I disagree. Mandy Rose, I think, is naturally hateable. She's that beauty queen that every guy wants to be with and every girl is envious of, but wants to admit their jealousy.
Anyway, and then Sarah
says,
you know, I come from a hunting background, and last week we set the trap, and this week we're going to bag 3 trophies. Again, shit line. But
I don't know.
And then Ruby says we better be ready because they're going to deal with a riot. The one thing to compliment these girls over Absolution, they're all very good promos.
Yeah.
Despite the fact the language they were given was absolutely shit, I still believed and conveyed the fact that, you know, regardless of Liv, whether she can be a heel or not,
she's believable.
She but she got herself over.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Sonya is clearly the weak link, so why the fuck she beats Ruby Riott on NXT? No fucking clue. We'll get to that. That probably is spoilers, but I believe you should know because I believe it's a fucking travesty.
We'll be spoiling the entire NXT tapings.
Also makes Ruby Riott look fucking terrible when she's supposed to be the leader of a group. And the fucking double T. Is she... I honestly think she's double T because if they actually put the word riot on a shirt, it could be used in a negative connotation.
The reasoning that I keep hearing is the fact, because I saw this when I got home from work today, and I was like, are you kidding me? I looked over, and apparently they had a trademark for Ruby Riott, and it didn't go through yet. So they were like, we don't want to wait any longer, so we're just going to go ahead and add the extra T.
Or the trademark will come through, and all of a sudden she'll go back to being normal.
I hope so.
Because then they can have her be the face of League of Legends because it's Riot Games.
Oh, boy.
Get some fucking money that way, WWE. Legends never die. They're big in China. You're not going to see a wrestling show in China fill up a bloody giant Olympic stadium. So the match, pretty good. Naomi gets murdered by the ring steps. Well, they basically... It's interesting. Naomi gets put on top of the ring steps, I guess, sandwiched into the two or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because they put the steps over her and... Oh, I guess they probably put it over her in terms of, like, the V. And then they basically catapulted her. So she probably was, like, bang, head into the sort of step sort of thing. So, of course, from that bit, it's basically... well, I was going to say it was 3-on-2, but it was 3-on-1 because right at the start, Natalya sort of did a little fighting with all three of them. Then Charlotte tagged in and Natalya fucked off. So much for saying that we can take these women down. She doesn't want anything to fucking do with them. Also, come to think of it, I just realised on Monday, why the fuck was Alexa Bliss there? When they didn't even have a match? And then that was it. Anyway, they win. Liv gets speared. So she doesn't even get to do anything fancy because then it's Sarah with an apron kick and Ruby with a jumping Pele kick. And the Riot Squad wins. And Naomi's being taken away on a stretcher.
Yeah, they're selling Naomi to run a stress injury angle with her right now.
She's dead. She's motherfucking dead.
Pretty much. Steve Co.
Need the sounder.
Interesting things going on in NXT tonight. We will have to we'll be talking about them later on tonight.
Especially because, you know,
got some
the important shit's wow.
Got a big development to come out of the show. A couple of them actually, but we'll get to those later on tonight.
One hasn't even happened yet.
One has happened. Actually, two of them have happened.
Door opens backstage and Randy Orton's there. And everybody's looking on their phones. And let's be honest, Randy Orton's reaction, probably this.
Let's go right and I'm going left. Can I ask a question, Macho Man?
No more questions.
I'm sorry.
No more questions.
I buy that.
He's going for a fight. Now it's time for Fashion Files.
Yes.
Breezango chained in the bathroom with the Ascension.
It's a Saw parody. I love this.
And there's a screen that's like, I want to play a game. You guys are making a mockery of the tag team division. Poison gas will be released in a minute. You must destroy what you love to get it. And then it flashes back to fucking, I can't remember the name of it, but Fandango's horse.
Yes.
And the severed head is right by them. And so they have to tear him apart to get the key, and then they do so. And Connor's just like, guys, save yourselves. We'll get out of here, no problem. And they run out, despite the fact there's like at least half a minute still to go. And then Fandango comes back in and just goes, oh, forgot my hat. And walks out. And the gas is released. And the Ascension are dead. Hey. Dude. I guess. No clue as to whether this actually means, you know, anything. But whatever.
I don't really care. It's great television.
So Orton and Owens was a pretty damn good match.
Just like I said it would be.
The clever bit was when we got to the end. So for the RKO, Kevin, I guess, senses this or knows this. So he rolls out the ring, helps the barrier and goes into the crowd, and Randy goes after him, and they fight to the stage, and Kevin manages to trip as he gets onto the stage, and Orton's going at him. And then Sami Zayn comes out and smacks Orton in the leg with a chair, and then in the back. And Byron's like, this isn't allowed! And Corey, being Corey, goes, he was banned from ringside. The stage is not ringside. This is fair game. I'm like,
Very
yes,
true.
yes,
That's Bobby Heenan level commentary right there.
yes. And Kevin drags Randy to the ring. Orton does hit the IEDDT. Goes, well, he's about to sort of go for the RKO thing, but Owens smacks him in the leg, which had obviously been worked over with a chair. Super kick. And finishes with a frog splash. Not the pop-up power bomb. And Owens wins, and that's it.
I approve.
The honorable men prove to be the smarter men this week.
I greatly approve of this. But again, you could call it bias, and you're right. But
Yes.
this is much needed.
So now Enzo comes out for 205 Live.
Oh, goody.
And says, yeah, I'm generous guy. I'm providing opportunities to the Zoe train, so try and take me on. No, but last night, they thought they were playing a game of Mario Kart and slipped on a banana peel. I really don't know why he just didn't say bloody red shell rather than banana peel. Because a banana peel just spins you out. The red shell knocks you senseless for a few seconds. And, Nice and Gulak will get the train back on track next week. And Gnome needs to do himself a favor and redeem himself. Because Rich Swann doesn't deserve a shot at the belt. And then they showed Swann off the YouTube saying that he's going to become a 2-time champ. So Swann versus Dar. Swann wins with a Phoenix Splash. It's an okay match. But it's like... It's a clear sign that the Zoe train might be the no train. I don't mean Daniel Bryan. Because it means there'll be nobody on the train. It'll be like Murder on the Orient Express if there was no carriages. Should be awkward, because then how do you do a film? So Kalisto's backstage and says, look, I've been knocked down, but I get up again. Yeah, you're never gonna knock me down. No.
Can't do math either.
I'm gonna fight my way, pissing the night away. I'm gonna fight my way back into the title picture, starting tonight against Jack Gallagher. By the way, Kalisto isn't in the thing. Kalisto is already buried because he's facing Jack Gallagher, and in a decent match, Kalisto's ready to go for the Selena del Sol, but Kendrick gets on the apron and kicks Kalisto. Hits him with his leather jacket as well afterwards, along with another kick, and then Gallagher headbutts him when Kalisto's being held up. So Kalisto is buried. Brilliant, guys. Why the fuck did you put him in this fucking division? And then they're talking about Hideo Itami and saying that just thinking about those strikes makes my body hurt. That's Swann's reaction. And Cedric says, look, when I win, you'll be feeling my strikes in 2 weeks, Swann. And Mustafa Ali's like, you're thinking too far ahead? Because after next week, Hollywood will be chanting Ali. Do so, Donald Trump will be declaring war because he'll see it as some sort of terrorist threat. Because he is friends with the WWE, remember? And he probably doesn't like LA because, rig stuff and whatever. So, yeah, next week, it's Gulak, Nice, Alexander, and Ali to determine who faces Swann in 2 weeks on Raw. To determine, I guess, something. To be honest, considering I'm predicting this now, considering that the Raw at Christmas, which is where I think the match is going to happen, is in Chicago, who out of the 5 possible contenders, Owen, has a link to Chicago?
Who we got again?
Swann, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you've got Gulak, Nice, Ali, and Alexander. I'll give you a clue. Freelance wrestling. So I've got a feeling Mustafa Ali's going to win some on Monday. Beat Swann.
That's a gamble.
And then possibly... He doesn't have to hold the belt for long. I think the idea is just for Enzo to become multiple-time champ and kill this division.
Yeah, I could see that.
The title back on he'll get the title back on the first defense because they think they're New Japan. Because there are barely any title defenses in New Japan unless you're Okada. So Drew is now in the ring saying, I'm not standing next to the statue of a Greek god. It's my tag partner. And then Enzo's like, oh, your team PowerPoint. Now, I'll explain it all. Tony's all power, and Drew likes to make salient points. You know, we're just like the Justice League. Nice is the Aquaman, and I am Batman. And our actions are in direct reference to our Superman, Enzo Amore.
He's fucking dead and gets resurrected a third of the way through his life.
Because that's the official canon, everybody. But because of that, PowerPoint presentation. But we actually don't get it because Cedric interrupts. Boo! I want fucking slides. Thankfully, Nice and Gulak win with a roll up on Alexander. Also into Ali because Alexander was on the apron. So I guess they did win there, which means they're obviously not winning on Monday. Whether it's Ali or Alexander, I'm guessing Ali, to be quite honest. But then everybody in Hollywood will be going, why is the guy that has actually wrestled for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood not gone over? And there we go. By the way, on main event, Hawkins lost to Apollo Crews, and Gallagher and Kendrick lost to Kalisto and Gran Metalik. Oh, he's still wrestling. Lince Dorado, though, dead. TJP, dead. Not been seen for 2 months. Dead. So then we get the weird episode of NXT tonight. We'll get to spoilers for what's being taped later, because obviously they're technically still ongoing.
We're trying to finish them very soon.
Yeah, if we're lucky, we might. Well,
we'll have them.
I'm trying to see whether by the time we're done, we might have a chance.
We're on the final episode right now that they're filming.
Yeah, I guess. It is. Do we know if that the way of the number 4 is tonight? Or whether that will be done.
It's in the ring right now, actually.
Wow, my info is completely out of date. So this week's NXT was from a crowd of 14 fans in San Antonio, because that's what it looked like.
Yep. I worked in front of more people than this show.
I think there was more, but just the way they had the camera shot, it made it look like there's no fucker there.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we start off with Street Profits versus Wellness Violation.
I like that tag team name. Why has no indie Fed used that yet?
Probably because you can't copyright it for t-shirts.
It was too long.
Yeah, they gave it quite a while. Considering that neither of these guys are in the title picture. This is literally like a secondary tag title or a secondary tag division sort of thing.
This is a Florida house show loop main event.
At the minute, arguably your big teams are Sanity, AOP, and Undisputed Era.
Yep.
And then you've got the second tier, which is what? Lorcan and Birch,
yep.
Street Profits, Ross, Wellness Violation. Anybody else I'm not thinking of?
Well, there's Heavy Machinery, but they haven't been seen in quite a while.
What the fuck? Is one of them dead?
It's I don't know. Well, there's the Ely brothers, but yeah, they suck, so that's not gonna work.
He must be dead. Because we
They were
haven't
there at the
heard
last
anything.
NXT tapings we were at, but that was a while ago.
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering whether one's injured or something. That's the only thing I can think of.
It's possible.
Because they were get hype, stay hype.
Yeah,
They were actual proper sort of hype bros.
yeah. I mean, they're super over with the crowd. I just don't get it. I still don't get it.
I get it more than Mojo.
Yeah, I get anything more than Mojo. But a decent formulaic tag match, but it was way too long. Angelo Dawkins with a hanging tree slam, non-sit out version, and Montez Ford comes off the top of the frog splash. So yeah, it was all right. Street Profits are very athletic. They're really over. I don't care. Then again, I guess I'm not who they're trying to get over with. The bitter, jaded wrestling fan that I have become. So we get a .com exclusive with Pete Dunne.
That match is still happening.
I know it is.
Match.
Continue.
Yeah, Mustache Mountain. That was on the net last week. Done Gargano, where basically like did with Wolfgang, so we want a tag match. This was recorded. Tell anyone. Actually, was it the day before San Antonio? It was, wasn't it?
You were cutting out. I couldn't hear what you said.
San Antonio was I'm trying to think. It was San Antonio, wasn't it? The day before Houston.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh wow, my internet's dropped that much. I haven't even moved anything. That's why the reception's being weird. Oh, I managed to sort of sneak it back up. Anyway, they basically cut a promo saying they're not happy with what he did with Wolfgang, left them hanging because of the Undisputed Era stuff, so they want a tag match. Don't know what causes that. Anyway, and then there's just a backstage bit, and then they have a bit from Mandrews, and it turns out that basically as long as they win, Dunn's promised Mandrews a title shot. So then it's time for Kairi Sane versus Peyton Royce Gracie. Because that's the only way you say Royce, not Royce. They should do that just to piss off the Gracies. Because that'd be a brilliant thing to see. Because then people would actually get choked out. Sadly short.
Needed to add the time that was partially on the tag match. Honestly, it would have been a lot more to it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Okay, actually finally finished.
It was good for what it was for the short amount of time that it got.
Mm-hmm.
Billy tried to get involved. She got shoulder checked off the apron, and that led to basically Kairi hit an axe stomp, hit two of those to basically put Peyton down. And Peyton had to sell on the mat for the longest time, and then of course the insane elbow finishes it. It was good. It was good. I enjoyed it.
And then the match that everybody cared about. British strong style and a Welshman.
So good.
I don't want to gush about it because it'll be seen as biased because I'm from the right area.
I mean, great.
Technically, 3 of the 4 guys in this match live like 2 hours away from me.
Yeah. Great stuff in this match. Pete Dunne's like, nope, I'm not going to tag out. And he eats a 7-star lariat. Tyler Bate gets the hot tag, diving Euro uppercut, hits a running one in the corner. Big exploder on Pete Dunne. Kip up, standing shooting star press, gets a near fall. Tyler Driver set up. Nope, Pete Dunne gets the tag out. Here comes Mandrews in with a House of Fire. Double stomp. Standing Sky Twister press for a 2 count. And Mandrews hits an enziguri. They fight up top. Well, they fight to their feet in this case. Dunne tags back in. Mandrews with a super Hurricane Rana. But Bate ends up getting power bombed out of it for a near fall. Bop and Bang connects. Trent Seven comes in, hits the Snapdragon suplex. They hit a really swank belly-to-back powerbomb combination. And Mandrews breaks it up. Bate hits the capo kick. Tag in, deadlift German. Shooting star press, Tyler Bate out of the way, but he lands on his feet, gets caught. Airplane spin, Doug tags himself back in. Tries to steal the win with Tyler Bate. Big right hand. And he red cards him, hits the lariat, Tyler Driver 97, and that's the end of it. Mustache Mountain go over in less than 12 minutes. This match was amazing. And what happened to Save Face? The United Kingdom champion ends up just laying out Mandrews with the bitter end as we fade to black.
Yeah. So I'm having to get some interesting social media stuff regarding, by the looks of it, one of the comments from certain people.
The 4-way is the main event of this final taping. It is not in the ring yet. The UK title match just finished a few minutes ago.
Yeah. If that is the main event, we've got to see if there's anything else happening.
Probably a dark match main event, which happens a lot at Full Sail.
Or are they actually doing the 4-way tonight?
They are.
Oh, so that's the main event then.
Unless they do a dark main event, which is possible.
For me, it isn't the main event. So, yeah. I guess
that was NXT for this week. NXT results, spoilers for the Full Sail tapings that are currently ongoing will be later on tonight.
Yeah.
Once they completely finish.
We'll stick them in there.
I can tell you right now that there was a title change, a pretty big one actually, and we have set up 4 singles matches to determine a 4-way at the end of the show to determine who's facing Andrade Cien Almas for the NXT Championship next.
I'm guessing because of the time span at the Rumble.
That is what makes the most sense.
Because if we're doing 4 weeks worth of taping, I know what the fucking episode is that we're watching at Christmas. The rematch to the match of the year in all of WWE.
That is actually going to be
involves a bloke that lives near me and a bloke that lives near me. That may or may not have been the main event of NXT tonight. Sorry, Trent.
Yeah, that is official right now. They are into the December 27th tapings as of this moment. and that was the opening match on the show. And then we did a short squash match with the Street Profits, and now we're moving on towards the Fatal 4-Way main event. We'll get to that later. But in the meantime, we got a little UFC MMA news right now.
Yeah. So the first place to start, even before we get to results on what's coming up this weekend, Connor. Again, Connor. Might be in a bit of a situation where he's going to be dead within the next 2 months. Because according to the press, both in Ireland and here in the UK, supposedly he was at home in Dublin and he's got friends that are also friends with Irish gangsters.
Oh boy.
For some reason, in one of the pubs where he was frequenting, he decides to beat the shit out of two of the gangsters' guys.
So, are you telling me that Conor McGregor is literally living the movie Snatch right now?
I can't remember whether anybody put a bounty on the guy's head. I mean, it isn't like that we know of, but
Okay.
it's sort of like if they wanted to, they could end him. But then again, considering how much money that he brings, it probably would be the end of them if they did end him. So it's a double-edged sword. But yeah, he's pissed off the wrong people, shall we say, apparently. It was all over social media a couple of days back. I think it happened like Monday-ish. There's no official word on it. There's no like charges have been done or anything. We've just got Connor came in and was abusive to me in the bar and punched some of my friends. What a twat, that sort of thing. It's murky. We don't know the full details, but if it's true, Connor's fucking derailed.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with gangsters.
He's going into boxing.
Snatch, I'm telling you. It is. It's waiting to happen.
He's going into boxing. There's no ETA on what's happening in terms of when he's coming back to MMA, even though he's a champion.
He needs to start watching some Guy Ritchie movies so he can realize what's coming his way very soon.
In the situation he's in, he needs to be a real rock and roller. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and we don't mean Balor at this point.
No.
Oh, God, no.
So, the first MMA bit is actually nothing to do with any of the major promotions. Singapore, the one promotion over there, had the Ben Askren Shinya Aoki match, which is an interesting situation because it's Askren's retirement match.
Interesting.
However, he won the belt in 57 seconds. Or he kept the belt, sorry, he retained. And afterwards, even though he's retiring, he said, I don't need any more money, but if the opportunity was to arise where I can face the best in the world, I'd want to have one more fight. And of course, the big speculation is, considering that the two of them went to college together at Missouri University, the implication is it'd be him versus Tyron Woodley. Which could be an interesting fight, I will say. And then also, Tae-Hyung Bang was sentenced to 10 months in jail for taking a bribe to lose a UFC fight back in 2015. when then they had a show in Seoul, South Korea. The irony is, because basically what happened is UFC noticed that literally the day of the fight, the betting all of a sudden went, this guy's the underdog, but they've put a shit ton of money on him. You know, it seems a bit weird. So they basically went and approached him and said, don't think about match fixing if that's what you think it is. So he actually won the fight. But because he did take the bribe to lose it, obviously that is pretty serious. The 10-month sentence was more lenient than it would have been because they did take into account that he ended up not losing on purpose and actually won. The interesting thing about this, though, UFC has not put out a statement on this issue. Ever. Which you'd have thought would be a bit concerning because obviously it's in their sport. Okay, it's not actually nothing to do with them because they weren't basically fixing the fight. But still, you'd have thought there would be some sort of statement. But no. So, in other stuff, Cyborg has said that beating Holly Holm will feel like getting a win against Ronda Rousey. That's why I'm wondering whether Ronda isn't actually going to be at WrestleMania. Because if UFC go, look, if we offer you $5 million, can you fight Cyborg in April? And she'll probably go yes if the money's right. I would have thought. Amanda Nunes has also expressed her displeasure with how UFC's promoted her. Askren's also caught out GSP as well. So I don't know whether he's trying to challenge him. Tyron would make the most sense, but whatever. So there were media lunches with Dana this week because they're in Vegas over this weekend. At least I think. Hang on, let me scroll down. Oh, in Vegas? No. Okay, so the Ultimate Fighter stuff's in Vegas. The actual pay-per-view's in Detroit. So either way, he's been doing press junket style things. So there's quite a bit over a couple of days and whatever. Volkan Ozdemir is still likely to get the next shot at Cormier's title, despite Ozdemir being arrested on charge of aggravated burglary. That is now official for the show in Boston, which is 220. So that, I think, is the first one coming up in January. Unless, of course, the Ozdemir thing goes through, and obviously it can't happen because, aggravated assault. CM Punk is going to be at the show to talk with Dana about what's next. And also, he also claimed that Nate Diaz has turned down fights against everybody and that they've offered him matchups for a year and a half. And there's but clarified that no official offer has been made for Diaz to face Tyron Woodley, which is the one that Diaz wants. And the other stuff, White's super pissed if GSP doesn't end up defending the middleweight title. He basically just moves to a different weight division. Interestingly, Tyron responded to White's claim about the Woodley and Diaz thing not being offered, saying that Dana constantly demotes him as a fighter. So that beef's coming back up again. He also doesn't want to see Ronda make a comeback because she's happy and has got enough money. Though, apparently, she isn't ready to officially retire. So, which is it? In terms of other stuff, Dan Helly, who did the commentary for Dana White's Contender Series on Tay Internet. The professional one, not the Snoop Dogg one. He's going to be making his official debut on the Ultimate Fighter finale this Friday, which we'll talk about in a minute. Rory McDonald wants to be one of the alternates in Bellator's heavyweight title tournament that we talked about last week. Derek Brunson will be facing Jacare Souza in the Charlotte Fight Night in January on Royal Rumble weekend. That's already looking like a... Keep in mind, that weekend is going to have NXT, WWE, UFC, and Bellator at least. That's getting fucking ridiculous. Actually, let me just check. Oh, no. The Bellator thing's a week before. Panic over. And also, the show at the end of the year, the pay-per-view UFC 219, Gokhan Sakai is taken out, citing a knee injury. So it's now going to be Khalil Roundtree facing Mikhail Olechnik. Can't pronounce it properly. Apologies there. So, the action from this past week, it got fucking ridiculous. Because unsurprisingly, Bisping lost in 2.5 minutes to a knockout. Which at the time made you wonder, why the fuck did they allow Bisping to fight? It's 2 or 3 weeks after, passing out and not being in any fit state to tap from GSP. For some reason, New York said it was fine. I can understand Bisping saying he was fine because he just wants to fight and whatever and get the paycheck and whatever, but and then Bisping afterwards is saying, no, this doesn't halt my retirement plans. Because apparently this is the first time Bisping's lost 2 fights in a row. And he is going to be fighting in March. To be honest, after the beating that he's taken, he probably shouldn't fight until at least June. That's the way I feel. Either way, on the other, Gastelum for his KO did get $50,000 in terms of the bonus for. There was 4 performances of the night. They didn't actually give any fight of the night to any of the matches. Li Jingliang in the welterweight division in the co-main beat Zokata with TKO punches midway through the first. He also got 50,000, and then 2 fighters from the prelims. Zabit Magdomashirapov with a very late in the 3rd round Anaconda choke submission on Shayman Moraes. That got him 50,000. And then the featherweights, Song Ye Dong with a 1st round front choke submission against Barak Kandare got him $50,000 as well. So in terms of this week, Friday is a pretty interesting one, which isn't getting any publicity because it's the Ultimate Fighter, because I think people will not really care about that, which is a shame considering the main event is crowning an inaugural UFC Women's Flyweight Championship. Because 1, we need another championship apparently. And 2, it's a shame that none of these women are actually getting any attention. The reason why I say that is because looking into it, in terms of the bracketology, in terms of the rankings and stuff, the one person that's in, that we know of for sure, because the second one still has to be determined because it's airing tonight and there aren't any spoilers about it. They managed to keep that under wraps. Nico Montano, who is in there, Trying to see if whether she's actually got a nationality. Nico Montano. She is American from Arizona. She was ranked 14th out of the 16 competitors. And the fact of the matter is, in her bracket, she beat the number 3 seed, the number 6 seed, and the number 2 seed. All via unanimous decisions over the 2 rounds in the round of 16 and the quarterfinals, and then over 3 rounds in the semifinals. Of course, because it's a title match, it technically can go to 5 rounds this Friday. In terms of my issue is, I think she's going to lose to whoever the other person is. Because the number 1 seed, Roxanne Modafferi, has first round TKO'd, admittedly, the number 16 and the number 8 seed, but she's TKO'd them in the first round. And then the 12th seed, Solara Eubanks, got a second round submission in a first fight, which, there are only 2 round fights there in that level. And then a first round knockout against the number 4 seed. So they seem to be able to get it done quick. Nico, although she gets unanimous decisions, doesn't seem to be able to finish it as it stands. So that's why I'm a little sort of concerned as to who will win there. The other matches on that card actually aren't too bad. We got 2 middleweight bouts with Eric Spicely and Gerard Meshiert opening it, and the co-main being Andrew Sanchez and Ryan James. And between those two bantamweight fights with Terry Ware versus Sean O'Malley and Joe Soto versus Brett Johns. And then we actually moved to Detroit, Michigan on the Saturday for UFC 218, which looks like a ridiculous card from top to bottom, even in the Fight Pass prelims. Because we open up with the women's strawweight division with Amanda Cooper versus Angela Magana. Then the heavyweights take the stage as Justin Willis faces Alan Crowder. Then we've got Jeremy Kimball versus Dominic Reyes in the light heavyweights, and then a welterweight bout finishing off that section of the card with Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Sabah Hamasi. Then on the Fox Sports 1 prelims, a women's strawweight bout with Felice Herrig versus Courtney Casey. David Tamer versus Draca Close in the lightweights. Alex Oliveira versus Yancy Medeiros in the welterweights. And then back to the lightweights for Charles Oliveira. I'm not sure whether they're related. Probably not. Taking on Paul Felder. And then the main card itself opens with Michelle Waterson taking on Tasia Torres. Eddie Alvarez versus Justin Gaethje, which could be a very interesting one. By the way, they were the trainers for the Ultimate Fighter stuff that's been happening. Either way, though, that could be a very interesting fight. Sergio Pettis is taking on Henry Cejudo in the flyweight division. Then in the heavyweights, we've got Francis Ngannou versus Alistair Overeem. And then the main event, Max Holloway versus Jose Aldo for the UFC featherweight title. The title that Aldo did have, and then lost to McGregor, and then all that shit happened for 2 years. So nothing happened with it, and then Holloway won it, and Aldo wants it back. Keep in mind as well that the only reason Aldo's been put in there is because Frankie Edgar got injured. So arguably it made the card better. Sounds a bit awkward, but there you go. They did face each other earlier this year, from what I remember. Let me check. UFC 212. Yeah, back in June. So we're already having a rematch like 6 months on. So it's like actual boxing. So there you go. That's the MMA stuff for now. if they actually announce whoever's facing Nico Montano by the time we finish, I'll try and keep you up to date with it. As in, I'm refreshing the page to see when it gets I'm refreshing Twitter and everything.
Well, we move from MMA to ROH, Ring of Honor time, as we build the final battle.
So here's the confusing thing. What I talked about last week actually happened this week. So I don't know what happened there with the results in terms of what got written out.
That's unique.
Yeah. So I might as well talk about what actually aired last week, which I found out didn't air this week. Because I was sort of trying to work out where's the bit with Bully Ray and everything, because they hadn't shown it yet. Because I haven't been able to catch up on the Fight app because I ain't got that much space on my tablet anymore. So we opened with Taven, TKO, Taven versus Jay White, with obviously Kingdom in Taven's corner. Taven did get the win, which made sense because obviously if Jay is going to be Switchblade Killer or whatever his name is in Japan again, it's a shame there was interference. With Search and Destroy admittedly making the save, but still, it's like, ugh. Who knows? So then they had Flip Gordon looking for allies to take on the Bullet Club, which was the coast to coast bit. So that's the stuff that we already talked about last week. Shane Taylor versus Cheeseburger, which was pretty quickly done. You know, the match was over in sort of no time, with the dogs basically coming out and offering a proposition, offering Shane a pint full of pennies to take Cheeseburger out. And Taylor just poured the money over for Will Ferreira's heads. And then, interestingly, Shane beat the shit out of the dogs. So I guess maybe a face turn, possibly.
Potentially.
Hard to tell. Then we had the Scorpio Sky thing, which we talked about last week. Flip getting Scorpio on board. Adam Page and Dalton Castle. Dalton getting the win with a camel clutch submission. Well, Cobra clutch, but from the camel clutch position. And afterwards, Cody and Dalton, because Cody was on commentary. In a velvet sports jacket, of course. They were chin wagging, which allowed Page to sort of hit Dalton from behind and whatever. So then Bully had his retirement speech. So this was the actual final segment. From ECW through to Ring of Honor. Saying that he wants to stick around even if he can't wrestle, and Joe Koff comes in and thanks what he's done to raise the profile of the brand, and then Briscoe shows up and insults him for basically going out the way they did, saying he pussy ass bitch and whatever, and Jay spat in Bully's face, and Joe Koff is pissed and getting in Briscoe's face. And Bobby Cruz, Prince Nana, and BJ are trying to hold him back. Joe Koff's getting into a fucking fight, everybody. And then Jay took the opportunity to smack Bully Ray and grabbed a chair. Tommy Dreamer and Velvet Sky come to make the save. And then Mark comes to talk sense into Ray and low blows Tommy. They throw Velvet outside and then hit a 3D on Bully Ray. And that's how we end. And that's how we tease towards Final Battle. In 2 weeks.
Yep.
We've still obviously got we've still got 2 weeks worth of tapings to build up to that. Which could be interesting. I mean, we've still got the whole accepting of the offer for a match, which still needs to air for those two. And the contract signing as well for the guys. But yes. So that's what happened 2 weeks ago on that's what happened last week on Ring of Honor, because this week we already covered last week. Confused? Yes.
Interesting. All right. That was easy. Let's go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. What's going on in World Tag League?
Well, the complicated issue is it's day 10 starting in a matter of hours. So we've got uneven fixtures and whatever because we're falling between the between days 9 and 10, so obviously uneven block. So probably the best thing to do is to actually go through the tables as they stand. So in B block, which is coming up later tonight, the Killer Elite Squad are the only unbeaten team in the block and the competition. We'll get to that. With 6 points. On 4 points, the Gorillas of Fuck, War Machine, and Elgin and Cobb. Oh, and also the best friends of Chucky T and Beretta. Ishii and Yana are on 2 points, and then, unsurprisingly, because young boys, Makabe Hanare and Finley and Kitamura are on 0. The thing is, one of them will not be 0 by the end of it, because realistically, they have to face each other somewhere down the line. When is it? Trying to have a quick look at my fixtures. Kitamura. Is it actually the last show? Is it actually the last show? Yes. Sorry.
Welcome, Jeremy Mills, to chat.
Those numbers are wrong. Yeah. The last match is the 2 teams with the young boys in. So that'll be where we decide who is the least young boy.
Nice.
Who is the biggest loser? So in Block A, everybody has won, everybody has lost. Juice Robinson and Sammy Callahan currently lead. 3 wins and 1 loss. The loss came actually to Tenkoji, interestingly.
Very unique.
So behind them on 4 points, we got Farley and Chase Owens, Paige and Yujiro, Tenkoji and Goto and Yoshihashi. Oh, and also Suzuki and Izuka, because fuck Izuka. Dear God. Sonada and Evil also on 4 points. Wow, I didn't realize there were that many on that close. And Nagata and Nakanishi trailing behind on 2, but it's obviously pretty close between the lot of them. As we try and have a look, by the time we get to next week, it gets complicated again because half the blocks are doing stuff. Brilliant. Also, there's a match missing from that one for some reason. I don't have complete fixtures. But then again, that's for next week for me to try and work out. Also, the interesting bit as well. Need to have a quick look through the notes here. Our boy, Takahashi keeps saying about 9 days he's taking on Osprey or something. Except everywhere I'm looking, he's just in 6-man tag action. So I don't get it. It's bloody confusing. I don't know. Have you been seeing some of these promos?
I haven't had the chance to yet.
Oh. He's being... One of them, for about 20 seconds right at the end, he's just going, meow, 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 meow. He's like, God damn it, Hiromu, we love you. Ah. Oh. It's beautiful. Probably. So yeah, that's where it stands at the minute. No progress in terms of anything else, really. Other than Jericho on his new YouTube channel putting up the promo without Kevin Kelly marking out or the crowd. Which is sort of weird, because it's like he's waiting for a pause on a pre-recorded video. That's complicated. That's Japan!
All right.
Well,
Moving
that's
on.
New Japan. We've still got to go back to Japan.
Yep. Well, but first, let's go back to Impact.
Right, because I don't remember us covering it last week.
I think we did, but I'm not positive at this point.
So, for some reason, Taiji Ishimori's teamed up with the heels of Lee and Connolly to take on Dutt, Xavier, and Garza Jr. The other ones win. Xavier actually getting the win with a spiral tap on Trevor Lee.
Oh, the fatal finish.
Pretty good. Pretty good, and it wasn't dramatically sort of just high spot, high spot, high spot. There was actually sort of like storytelling, and admittedly there was like a noogie and whatever. It's like, ugh. It's all right. EC3 beats Fowler Bar, but in such a way that it's like Fowler Bar probably should have won. Admittedly, EC3 sort of had to win with the foot on the ropes and whatever. But like Fowler Bar looks impressive. Problem is, it's in a promotion that not many people are paying attention to right now. Because I've got a feeling with the EC3 deal is if he hadn't have won there, he probably would have lost in terms of the rounds. So then we have OVE versus LAX, which LAX win with Jake Christ. Then afterwards, they were throwing chairs at each other because, of course, they were. So then Dan Lambert shows up. Saying, he told everybody he's going to expose wrestlers as wannabe tough guys. Impact had a deal with Lashley and then reneged on it and won't let him go. And trying to draft a release, and they want an official so he can go away. And then Moose shows up, basically saying, nope, and goes to grab Lambert. Then Top Team shows up, including Colby. I hate everybody, especially though the guy that threw a boomerang in my face, Covington. And then James Storm shows up and says, I was here when the doors opened. tagged with another guy, and we called ourselves America's Most Wanted. Hi, Braden. He doesn't say hi, Braden. Then he wound up with beer money with some other guy they didn't know what to do with. Shoot, maybe? And he's James Effin Storm. So the promo interrupted Dan Lambert, which is the only reason why this is going to result in Storm retiring, thanks to Dan Lambert. Who knows? KM wants to be part of American Top Team. Why? That's literally all I want to say about that. Then they're building up to the main event, which is Pete Williams and Eli Drake. This is why I remember we didn't talk about this last week, because we get the fucking shit that is Gail Kim. And then Ali comes out as an invited guest in inverted commas. And Gail says, you know, as a young woman that loved wrestling and saw beautiful athletic women doing what I love, so I joined a wrestling school. You know, not a lot of people can say their dreams came true, but they did for me. Of course, the You Deserve It stuff. And then she gives props to Trish Stratus. Never worked for the company. Lita, never worked for the company. Molly Holly, never worked for the company. Awesome Kong, who did. And Taryn Terrell, because sexually dressed Christians. She's relinquishing the title and is excited to see what's next. And is more excited to see what's next for Ali and everyone who's going to carry the division in the future. Thanks Impact for letting her dreams come true. And thanks the fans. Gives Ali a hug. Gives Borash a hug and walks off. So don't try and... Apparently, she actually booked the match that happened at Bound for Glory. Wouldn't you know? Yeah. And then Grado's catering and Joseph Park comes in looking destroyed. And Joseph says, look, I know it's all me. I know that I'm a piss. I'll never be able to make it up to you, but I can try by giving you your visa. And he hands the paperwork over just as a Mountie, not the Mountie, a Mountie, walks up to say, you're okay to be in the United States, sir, but we're going to have to deport you from Canada. And Joe says, I can't help you because I only work in the US. So he's got the visa, but hasn't got the visa. What? And then Jimmy Jacobs is randomly on commentary for Eli Drake versus Pete Williams. Eli Drake countering a Canadian destroyer attempt to the gravy train. Good match between them. Which isn't a surprise because it's Pete Williams. And to some extent Eli Drake because he's actually got somewhat better. The reason why I talked about this, you know, one, we forgot it last week. Two, this week, oh my fucking God. Because they knew they were on Thanksgiving and not many people would watch, they literally did fuck all. They opened up with the 2008 Turkey Bowl. With Alex Shelley dressed as a turkey. And Mick Foley coming out to remind Shelley that he has to wear the suit. By the way, yeah. Also, Rhino was in this. And Sheikh Bashir. Whatever happened to him? So now we're with Robert Irvin, because they're drawing the name for who's in the match. apparently. And Robert Irvin's done a Thanksgiving meal. And they've turned it into the Eli Drake gravy train turkey trot or something. And Eddie Edwards is first. And then we've got Phantasma. And apparently they don't have Thanksgiving in Mexico, so I'll bring the chocolate. What? So the tournament to crown the Knockouts champion begins this coming week. Then we have bloody Impact Wrestling stars talking about their favorite Thanksgiving food. What the fuck is this? Tejano Jr. is facing James Storm next week, along with the Knockouts. Matt Sydal versus Tyler Dukes. LAX doing some talking, and Johnny Impact versus Alberto. Again. So now it's time to go to Turkey Bowl 2011, when Eric Young beat Robbie E, and then Rob Terry had to dress up in a turkey suit because Robbie E was injured. So then Ali's in the Turkey Bowl and stuff, and then they're plugging the network, which rightfully says in the notes that I've got here, DVDs are people that don't work here anymore.
Well, you're not wrong, but still.
No. And then buddy Trevor Lee gets drawn, and Richard Justice gets drawn, KM gets drawn, and Laurel Van Ness gets drawn, and then we're back to the stars talking about how they celebrate Thanksgiving when they weren't at the table for turkey. And then they recap last year's Turkey Bowl when Grado was dancing in the suit. And Fala Bar gets added in, who just goes bar, bar, and goggle, gobble, gobble. And then finally Garza Jr. and Chris Adonis get drawn for the various teams. So then we get to the only match of the fucking night. So it's Team Edwards of Edwards, Falabar, Garza Jr., Richard Justice, and Ali versus Team Phantasma, which by default apparently has now become Team Adonis for some reason. So it's Adonis, Phantasma, Laurel Van Ness, Caleb Conley, and KM. Eddie Edwards manages to counter an Adonis lock into a roll-up, and Team Edwards win, and Adonis has to wear the turkey suit. And Drake's trying to talk JB out of making Adonis wear the suit, but because they took the pledge and everything, they have to. And then we're back. We're having the Thanksgiving meal apparently, and Adonis is trying to leave, and security throws him into the ring. And it's like, if you don't wear the suit, Eli Drake has to wear it. And Drake's like, no, you're putting on that suit whether you want to. And Drake's laughing his ass off, and Adonis is pissed. And the fans chant gobble gobble at him. What the fuck? And then, of course, there's a fucking food fight. If you're not going to fucking bother TNA, don't put a fucking show on. You dumb bastards. Also, nice publicity for Robert Irvin and his sellout wife. In Impact-related news, because it also ties to what we saw on Monday, Ed Nordholm today has finally admitted that there are new talent agreements to incorporate language that allows talent to continue to use gimmicks that they've had in Impact when they leave the company. And this applies to both current talent and former talent. So basically, Anthem have fucking given up.
Yep, sounds like it.
They were like, we're going to sue, we're going to sue. Be great if they did, because then they'd be like, we ain't got any fucking money. What have we got to sue for? So, yeah. Oh, Impact's time is ticking away. It's on the life support machine, and we're that close to having to get the bloody EMT in to make sure we have to revive it with the shocky thing. There you go.
Well, it's funny you mention that because Impact's returning to my literal home, not away from home, Universal Orlando Resort in January.
Because screw Canada.
No, they'll be back in Canada afterwards, but they're going to be running in January.
If there's no other shows, they won't be back in Canada.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens.
Aerolux takes over the Impact Zone. That'll be the irony.
Oh, boy.
Lucha Lux.
So, yeah, they're looking at, I gotta see, I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, I had to find the actual dates. I don't have the email handy. January 10th to the 18th. 15th, sorry.
6 days.
6 days of tapings. And they'll be back in Canada in March.
So literally fuck the UK.
Yep.
This is good, isn't it?
Yeah, let's bite the hand that was feeding us for so long.
I mean, admittedly, they've already said fuck India.
Well, apparently so. So, I know this is kind of off topic, but it needs to be brought up at some point in the show, and I want to talk about it now, and I want to talk about All In.
Well, it was going to come up in the news, but yeah, let me get the so this is brilliant because it basically resolves from Meltzer.
Yep.
Because somebody said, is Ring of Honor going to do a 10,000 seat arena show? And Dave was like, not anytime soon. So Cody's like, I'll take your bet. So then last week, a picture got posted up of Cody and the Bucks and Marty on a scouting trip. Don't know what the venue was, but it looks like they're trying to self-finance a 10,000 seat show. They've considered Chicago, London, San Francisco, and Ontario, California, possibly.
Right.
They're far enough to say that sometime in 2018 it's happening. The reason why they can't, one, location, two, the fact that they need Ring of Honor's approval because they want to do it as a Ring of Honor show. If they did do it rightfully, Jim Smallman, co-owner of Progress, was saying, what's all this hype about trying to get a 10,000 seat venue for an independent show? We're doing it already. It's called Hello Wembley in September. So part of me is thinking they aren't going to do it in London because this is the interesting note. There hasn't been a non-WWE show to do 10,000 tickets since WCW went under.
Well, think about it though. I mean, like Dave said, and I'll give I'll give credit where credit is due, because we talk about Meltzer all the time here on the network. It really is the situation that, could you imagine if you can pack 10,000 people plus into a venue, what kind of merch budget that's going to have?
A very interesting prospect.
Especially with who Cody wants in the main event. And if that could happen, I think that's grounds for 10,000.
So I'm just looking, and it looks as if this part of me looks as if this Ultimate Fighter thing is actually on at 11 o'clock. So we probably aren't going to get the result in time for when we finish.
So it's like, I mean, let's say, for sake of argument, they worked out a deal with Vince and they promoted a show that was main evented by Cody defending the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title against Bryan Danielson, not Daniel Bryan, and the Elite versus
that's
the New Day.
dream. Oh, I don't know whether that had happened. Because of the WWE deal, I don't think that would happen.
Well, I mean, if they could, that's what I said. If they could find a way to work to collaborate, Ring of Honor and WWE collaborate together. I know this is a lot of armchair booking, but that's what I'm sitting in right now, so it makes sense. And literally
do it. It be an independent show. That's the issue.
Well, it goes back to the show that Jerry Lawler ran in the early 2000s, the one that was Jerry Lawler versus Hulk Hogan, which was the main event, and then WWE pulled Lawler, so it ended up being Hogan against Paul White.
Hey?
Yeah, this was a show that happened in Tennessee.
Oh. I thought
It was an indie show with Hulk Hogan.
We're talking about the one that was filmed in the Impact Zone.
Nope.
The Kurt Hennig one.
Oh, no XWF stuff.
No. Couldn't remember what it was called because literally the DVD over here was just called Hulk Hogan.
It was called Hulk Hogan?
I can't even remember.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
There was barely any mention of... Let me see if I can actually find out what the title of that thing was. Hulk Hogan in Your Face, the lost episodes of the XWF.
There you go. It was called In Your Face. That was the original title. That was what it was originally called. But yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting prospect. I know they can pull it off. And I mean, I would love to see something like that happen. And if you could bring in, let's say we could get Vince to get in on it, figure out a way to make money, and sure enough, they could have the matches everyone wants to see.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a very interesting prospect, to be honest. Like, I mean, it wouldn't be like the Elite versus the New Day versus the team of the Revival and Roman Reigns. I wouldn't go that far. But I mean, there's a lot of things you could possibly do. I mean, you could bring New Japan in on this. I mean, you could really, like, there was a pro wrestling Super Bowl back in 1993 that they was promoted through Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And a lot of promotions banded together to create a supercard. And that could be this if they really wanted to do it properly. Like the old Brian Pillman Memorial shows. They had WWF, WCW, ECW, and the various independents all working together with Heartland to create shows. So, I mean, they could do it. There's precedence for it if they really want to go for it. And if you want to talk about the most consummate businessmen in the wrestling industry right now, I would look no further than the Bullet Club. Mainly Matt and Nick Jackson and Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
They want things done. They'll get stuff done.
Get it done.
Oh, no Dan Whitney references on my network. So,
But if you'll find it's a Jason Isaac Star Trek reference.
yeah.
Or
I'll
would
take
have
that
been.
one versus the original one.
Or would have been had it not been for the cable guy.
Yeah. Boy. So, yeah, definitely continue to watch Being the Elite for more information coming up very soon. Like I said before, Hot Topic. I said this off air. I'm going to say it on air now because we're into this conversation. Then we're going to go into our NXT spoilers before we go into results because they just finished up a few minutes ago. And congratulations, but we'll give that in a minute. So currently available, Hot Topic in the stores and also online. The brand new Kenny Omega Bone Droid shirt, Cease and Desist, which is the top T-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. Bullet Club now outsold Rick and Morty on Hot Topic officially as of Black Friday. A brand new limited edition Young Bucks shirt, which is orange and yellow, and the USA Bullet Club shirt. It's not available online, but the American Nightmare shirt, the second edition of it with the flag, it's actually I actually picked it up at Hot Topic yesterday. And two new shirts. There is a long sleeve white and black raglan print of the villain Marty Skrull and his awesome mask, and it looks really cool. I just picked that one up. And that's also available, as well as the Cody 2020 shirt from the Invasion. So that's available as well. So Bullet Club shirts remain on sale right now. Currently, Hot Topic does have deals, 30% off T-shirts, and they get free shipping for orders over $50. So if you want to go to Hot Topic, you can pick them up. If you go to the store, there is actually a deal where you go to the store itself, you can buy 2 T-shirts, get 1 free. Did that yesterday. But yeah. Bullet Club Pop Vinyls coming in 2018, among other things.
All this stuff.
And I'll probably have Bullet Club shoes by the time 2018 rolls around. Pro Wrestling Tees already did it once. I guarantee they do it again. So NXT spoilers just finished up. Full Sail University, down the road from where I live right now, actually. Been there several times. So do want to give shout outs to everyone that was at the show tonight, and I follow along on Twitter with a lot of people. So I'm going through Wrestling Inc. for this one. So they taped somewhat out of order, but somewhat in order, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So this is going to take us to 2018, basically.
So we started off with basically the announcement that Drew isn't competing. From what I saw, the things that he's aiming for April.
Correct.
So hopefully WrestleMania, maybe we'll see. So Zelina says, stand up for the champion. And they all stand. And makes fun of Drew being hurt and that he's gone for a long time. And they're doing 4 qualifying matches leading to a fatal 4-way. The first match is Trent Seven versus Killian Dane.
Wrong. There's a dark match.
That's one of the 4 contenders matches.
I have a dark match that ran before the opening match.
Well, what was it?
It was Wolfgang over Kona Reeves.
Oh, yeah. I guess what I'm seeing is what actually aired on the stuff.
Correct.
Or what's going to be aired. So then we got the no holds barred match between Sonya Deville and Ruby Riott, which Sonya wins with Ruby passing out to a go-go platter.
Yeah, in the ropes.
So she didn't tap. She just died. So then it's time for Chris Hero versus Johnny Gargano.
Yes.
Which Gargano wins with the Gargano escape. That should be tasty. Then we had Lars Sullivan beating Roddy Strong. Following this, Ember Moon beat Peyton Royce in a non-title match. Afterwards, of course, Billy came in and there was a 2-on-1 beatdown. But then Nikki Cross came out of nowhere. Teased attacking Ember, but then just went crazy and went back through the crowd. So then Almas was in action, beating Fabian Eichner. Winning with the El Idolo, as it's now called. And then the final Fatal 4-Way qualifier was Aleister Black versus Adam Cole.
Yeah.
And Aleister won with Black Mass, so Adam Cole's undefeated streak's gone.
Not the only one. We'll get to that.
So the Authors of Pain beat Lorcan and Birch in like God knows how long. Apparently the crowd are calling Lorcan and Birch 1s and 2s. It's a bit weird. Then the tag title situation happened. So Sanity were defending against the Undisputed Era. And it was Dane and Young in the match, admittedly.
Which is how it should be.
The Dane wrestled 3 times.
Uh-huh. He was the Iron Man of the show.
MVP! MVP! EY hit a dive onto Cole, who was sort of interfering late on. And then to elimination! As, I've forgotten his name.
Joey Styles?
Rat that decided to get political in Shikara. Well, no, sorry. Evolve. And then lost everything. Undisputed Era get the 3 and new tag champs.
Yeah, Red Dragon are the new NXT Tag Team Champions.
Then Ember beat Sonya. They didn't give a shit about this match because of what happened with Owen's favorite tag team.
Oh, God.
Fucking favorite tag team.
Oh, boy.
I'll play that in a few weeks, everybody.
Oh, no.
We freaking do. So then afterwards, Kairi Sane shows up with new music. And she's doing her point at her as she gets fucked up by Shayna Baszler. Chokes her out. And then Shayna's looking like, I want the shot. So we're doing that. And then, yeah, let's give it about 20 plus minutes. Done and bait for the UK title. All of them were kicking out of each other's finishes. That's how you know they're trying to do one up the other one. Dunn eventually did win. After Tyler went for a backdrop off the top rope, but Pete landed on his feet and nailed the bitter end. Like, goddamn. And then the Street Profits faced Jobbers!
Trying to find who they are, but I can't find them. Sorry.
And they go into the crowd and cut a promo from the top of the bleachers saying, 2017 we came, you saw, and we conquer in 2018. We're coming for the belts. And what? Bad. So then it's time for the 4-way. And
very interesting finish.
Aleister gets pinned.
Yep.
By Johnny Gargano. The redemption story is coming to Philly.
Yeah, and right after he
Which,
went,
considering Shikara,
right after Gargano wins the championship, Tommaso Ciampa is going to jump him from behind, and then we've got TakeOver.
New Orleans gets.
Yep, they get the battle. DIY explodes for the NXT championship. I love this. This is great. But I'll say right now, the same thing that was said on Twitter. Where's Patrick Clark here? Remember that thing I said about showing up at the Royal Rumble? Maybe there's more to it than meets the eye.
I'm still hyperventilating over. He said my name.
It's possible. Not even a promo, nothing though. That's very interesting.
Also, who's more infamous from now? The guy who doesn't have an undefeated streak, or the Prince gimmick?
Yep, that's a good point. That's NXT spoilers, and we'll talk about them starting next week, which next week will be Killian Dane versus Trent Seven, Johnny Gargano versus Chris Hero, Sonya Deville and Ruby Riott, and that's going to be coming your way with that Almas Zelina promo to start off the show. So that's going to be for next week's show. So, covered everything main news. Now let's go into the independents and results from around the globe.
We hadn't done all the news. Because some of the other bits, I don't think we ran through the schedule yet for the WWE pay-per-views.
Oh, the one that just got posted? Yeah.
Yeah. 4 teams shows set for 2018 as it tentatively stands. With 5 Raw, 4 Smackdown, and 5 crossover shows. So yeah, the usual Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and Mania are crossover. But now Money in the Bank is becoming a co-branded show as well now.
We also have locations too.
Staying 4 hours. So yeah. Well, we know the Rumble's going to be in Philly. Elimination Chamber at the end of February is going to be in Vegas. Columbus, Ohio hosts Fastlane for SmackDown mid-March. Mania, we already know, is in New Orleans. Newark, New Jersey for Backlash from Raw on May the 6th. Then May the 27th, Payback's going to be in Baltimore, the land of Marys. Chicago gets Money in the Bank. How many times has that pay-per-view been there? Because obviously the infamous one is 2011. And that, you know, there's always been one in or around that time, because I remember the Payback before Money in the Bank, where the year after with Jericho and Punk, that was Chicago. And I think one of the Extreme Rules when it was in its April-May slot was Chicago as well. They like Chicago. Then Pittsburgh hosts Battleground for Raw in mid-July. Brooklyn for SummerSlam in August, as we knew. Then 2 in September.
Well, we'll not be covering.
Well, even September 16th?
Let me look at the potential days. Probably not, honestly. Let's look at the date real quick. So, tentatively speaking, I'm just going to guesstimate right now because this is how I do things. I would say that opening night is going to be on the 14th, and that would mean that 14th, 15th, and 16th will be first weekend of Halloween Horror Nights this coming year. So nope.
So possibly not. So yeah, San Antonio for Extreme Rules on the 16th, and then the 30th in Nashville for Hell in a Cell. TLC in Boston on October the 21st. Then, as previously announced, Survivor Series at the Staples Center in November. Then Clash of the Champions in San Jose. So they're sticking in Cali. Wow, so that means that the shows right before Christmas are going to be West Coast.
It's interesting.
Raw and SmackDown.
Makes me wonder where the Rumble's going to be in 2019.
I mean, we'll find out in January.
I'm with Aaron. I think Orlando's got a shot at Survivor Series in 2019. It'd be the last of the big. Oh, because I don't see Orlando getting SummerSlam. That's the other one that needs to happen.
I don't think it'll be Orlando. I've got a feeling Florida's getting one of the big shows in 2018.
Well, there's nothing for 18. You mean 19?
Possible. Well, yeah. Sorry, 2019. Yeah. I'm thinking, you could do it in the run up to. I mean, it depends where Mania is. I think from that bit we'll sort of get an idea.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to do the Rumble in Florida next year.
We've already done the Rumble in Orlando, though.
I said Florida.
You're talking about Tampa or Miami?
Yeah.
They
could do it early, or just to be a bit different, give Florida Money in the Bank. If it's a cross-branded show,
right,
and it's one of the big ones, and Florida's a good market because of some show called NXT.
Yep.
I don't know if you've heard of it. That would be a good one to do, because then all of a sudden you could actually have people debut in the Money in the Bank. Hell, if you wanted to, which they wouldn't, you could do an NXT Money in the Bank.
Well, I think we're
something
building
like it.
Well, I mean, we're building towards new stuff to the point that we could see a women's Royal Rumble this coming year, or they might wait another year for it, but it's still a possibility. We did get a women's Money in the Bank this past year.
And they have been circulating the idea for at least a year or so.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to wait and see.
So Jericho's podcast had some of the Glow people. And Jericho revealed that he did audition for the role that Alex Riley got.
That's interesting. I saw that. I was like, it's very interesting.
Yeah, but you saw the irony as well of who also auditioned for the Riley role? Miz.
Interesting. That's funny.
And Helico is no longer working for AAA as of January the 1st. He's taking bookings out of Spain. Means UK shows, book this guy. Some interesting stuff happened at WrestleCade, some of which it probably will be shot to be shown on Impact. The one that probably won't will be Jerry Lawler beating George South. Now, this is the interesting one, because I'm like, this clearly is an Impact match, but how the fuck are they going to do it? Bobby Lashley and King Mo lose to the Veterans of War. Yeah, the guys that they fucking fired might be on Impact. Oh, no. We also had Caleb Conley teaming with Juventud Guerrero and Super Crazy, beating Willie Mack, PJ Black, and Jason Kincaid. Maybe. I don't know. Jim Cornette, who was managing Dan Severn, Dan beat Josh Woods, and then Cornette basically said, "I'm not managing ever again." Trying to see if there's anything else. Evil East beat Taya Valkyrie in a DQ match. That might be on Impact. And then just to really confuse it, because if this is the one they are going to put on, it's complicated because it's Eli Drake retaining the belt over Johnny Impact and Jack Swagger. Does Swagger have a contract?
We've been saying this for a while now.
Because I doubt he would because of Bellator. So who knows? Aero Lucha have basically revealed what they're doing for the first tapings in the asylum. December 10th, so it's next week. I was going to say next weekend. I guess next Sunday, wouldn't it be? Thinking about it.
December 10th?
Yeah.
It is a Sunday, yes.
Yeah, week on Sunday. Basically, what they're doing is the pilot to try and turn it into a series. So we got Mr. 450 versus Willie Mack. Damus 316 taking on Masquerita's Dorada. Kira and Lacey Lane versus Vanilla Vargas and Taya. MVP taking on Sammy Guevara. A trios match with Jack Evans, Hurricane Helms, and Maximo facing Garza Jr. and La Mascada and Daga. And then John Morrison and Rush facing Rey Mysterio and Pentagon. And apparently he has got the Pentagon name. And yes, we do mean Pentagon as in Phoenix Pentagon. So that's interestingly complicated. There's an Impact Wrestling star that's going to be on a promotion that could get more publicity than your own promotion. Awkward. Also, WWN announced that they've actually got Daisuke Sakimoto for the WrestleMania weekend shows exclusively as part of the WWN stuff. Well, basically, it'll be, by the looks of it, it's just the two Evolve shows that they're doing and also the WWN Super Show that he's on. It's the first time he's been in America for years. He's normally in Big Japan, as well as All Japan and other stuff. But also, Evolve will be going up against the Rev Pro show, which has got Tanahashi on it. And then the other interesting twist is Tanahashi is also going to be a part of the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor show with Kenny as well on April the 7th. So head to head with NXT. Fuck. Jeez. And Starcade happened. I haven't even covered that. From the Greensboro Coliseum. So the opener, Bobby Roode beat Dolph Ziggler, thanks to Arn Anderson getting involved. Mainly because Ziggler sort of taunted him to get involved. Mike Kanellis, Rusev, the Bludgeon Brothers, and the Colons beat Breezango, Sin Cara, the Ascension, and Ty Dillinger. Whatever happened to Ty? He's dead. I mean, I get... And also Rusev. What the fuck happened to Rusev Day? Where was that this week?
That's a good question.
Naomi beat Tamina. Goldust became Dustin Rhodes again and beat Dash Wilder. Then we had the Ricky Steamboat appearance. By the way, no anything with the Good Brothers versus the Rock and Roll Express.
They pulled them for the house show that night.
Yeah. So the Hardys and the Rock and Roll Express danced with the New Day.
What they should have done is they should have not pulled them, pulled someone else instead, and did the Southpaw Regional Wrestling Tag Team match against the Rock and Roll Express. Tex Ferguson and Chad Too Bad against the Rock and Roll Express. Because they've already referenced it, they might as well just actually do it.
No, the best one would be fucking have bloody Xavier and Big E come out as the Voodoo guys.
They just could. Why don't they? I mean, I'm telling you, there's money to be made in doing Southpaw Regional Wrestling at Full Sail.
The Usos retained the tag belts over Gable and Benjamin, Owens and Zayn and New Day. And then in the steel cage matches, Charlotte retained over Natalya with a Ric Flair appearance after, and Strut. And AJ beating Jinder Mahal to retain as well. So that happened. Also, Dave Otunga has apparently got main custody of the kid. Basically, he's got primary custody because she's having to travel to and from America and the UK because she's doing both versions of the voice. And Otunga basically claimed to be the main caregiver because of her schedule. But Dave won't be returning to their home in the Chicago area that they had been living in. So who knows? Tennille Dashwood is working God knows how many places. The first one that I saw listed, I think, was WrestlePro.
I know. Well, the one I saw
weekend.
was AIW, but yeah.
WrestlePro is the one that's literally on the weekend of when she's available to work.
Right.
However, she's also going to be wrestling for WXW in Germany in May. The AIW one, the We Got a Dilemma show. Hell, they even named it after her. Or a former gimmick, anyway. Back in late February. Wrestling has a tomorrow in Providence on February 11th. Standalone Wrestling on February 24th. February 25th at AML Wrestling. And Remix Pro in Marietta on April the 21st. Oh, and her debut match back on the Indies will be against Angelina Love for WrestlePro. And also just announced this week for next week, and we'll cover it obviously in more detail next week. Rev Pro's final big show of the year, Uprising, is going to feature Cody Rhodes defending the Ring of Honor World title against Jay Lethal. Literally 6 days. No, if it's the 8th, literally a week before, obviously, he retains against Lethal and faces Monsieur Dalton Castle. Also, interestingly, Brock might be showing up on Raw in a couple of weeks because Providence, Rhode Island, on their social media stuff, was advertising that Lesnar is going to be on the show. Which makes sense because it's probably the last show that Brock can be on before Christmas. And if they did want to build Balor and whatever, they'd probably have to do it then. Because obviously when we come back, he wouldn't, Brock won't work Christmas Day or New Year's Day. But then you've only got 3 dates to sort of manage it from there. So WWE Studios is expanding into television and digital content. Given the size of our fan base and their appetite for WWE programming well beyond our core in-ring shows, This is the ideal time to further establish the brand with new genres across platforms. Then why do you keep fucking cancelling shows if you're expanding? Seriously. Bring it to the table, dead, because Peter Rosencunt. Or probably more honestly, JBL isn't available anymore. Also, interestingly, all of NXT is now available on the network. So all the old good to shit stuff when they did the tournament stuff, and basically everything from, because didn't NXT start OVW?
FCW.
But then transitioned to FSU. Well, Full Sail. Keep calling it FSU when it's not that. FSU, fuck shit up. I should know that. Bloody UK tag team. Mandrews is in it. Or was, because Eddie Dennis turned on him and whatever.
No, it started FCW into what became NXT.
Yeah, and Jeremy Botta, formerly of Flow Slam, tweeted a few hours ago, Flow Slam was officially killed off. So all the promise got ruined by how much they wanted to make it into sort of everybody, watching every sort of sport and overcharging. And then the WWN deal fell through. So here's an interesting little tidbit that came up, I'm guessing a few hours ago. I'm guessing the person that screenshotted this tweet may... Actually, no, because of the time. Yeah, because of the time, it's technically in the future from me. About 4 hours from now, so it's probably somebody in Australia that put this post up. Just saying. But Joey Janela had a very interesting tweet that says, quote, in May, Flow Slam tried to get me to get rid of GCW, Game Changer Wrestling. Quote, as the middleman, and work him into doing bi-monthly spring break shows for no money because they thought he was an idiot. They'd say, think about all the money you could be making. Good riddance, your tool bags. So yeah, Flow Slam is dead. In other Joey Janela news, he's making his debut for Defy Wrestling in February.
I saw.
By the way, Defy Wrestling match is going to be on Impact this week. Why?
I saw an interesting tweet that Joey Janela posted where he was asking Joey Styles if he wanted to do commentary for the next spring break. And they got an interesting conversation with Excalibur.
Unbelievable.
I hate to put myself over, but that would probably be the dream 3-person group I would want to do commentary with. Joey Styles and Excalibur.
No. I still say Joey's persona non grata because of what he did.
Right, but other than that,
I'd say Excalibur and anybody.
I want to work with Excalibur someday. That'd be great.
Just also looking at the social media stuff. Progress Wrestling. We'll get to their results. They've just announced Chris Brooks, Mark Andrews, and Matt Cross in a triple threat for next weekend in Sheffield, England. Apparently, that's a place. I don't even know what that is. That's Riptide Wrestling. That's a different promotion that I thought it was. And that's other stuff. So in terms of results and other stuff coming up this weekend, probably hit on the high notes and whatever. In terms of Dragon Gate Japan's Memorial Gate show, Yamato, BB Hulk, and KZ retained the Triangle Gate titles. And then the Owari Gate title, which is the one which is chosen by basically the fans clapping. Shima vacated it, and Hollywood stalker Ishikawa demanded the match that he had with Saito now be for the title. And Rio basically said, you know, the reason Shima vacated the title is because nobody wants to win it. And he didn't want it either. So Ishikawa was just like, come on, this is the first big event we've done in this place. So what if they got to see a new champ crowned? And Saito basically said, you do know I've beaten you every time. And Saito went, okay, as long as you try harder than you normally do. And it went about 10 minutes with Rio getting the pin, I should say. And then when the fan results, Hollywood Stalker got about 20 or so fans clapping, and everybody else cheered for Saito. So by fan approval, he is the champ, whether he likes it or not. Also worth noting, apparently Dragon Gate has its own masked warrior. Or should I say metal warrior. The former Jimmy Kagetora is getting attacked by this metal warrior. On this show, he used Jimmy Susumu, I guess, his Mugen move. But it is worth noting, he's doing different moves each time. So it's unclear who it is. You know, who is the one that's actually this metal warrior? Then we get to Lucha Forever. This is worth mentioning. They had a show which was pretty successful. Deputy Dunn beating Jack Sexsmith, Big T beating Charlie Evans, CCK beating Aussie Open and Millie McKenzie. Of which, from what I heard, Kid Lycos might have dislocated his shoulder on this one. But actually, it might have been on the weekend, come to think of it. So the fact that he actually wrestled a couple of nights later is a bit crazy. El Ligero beating Amari, David Graves, and Joe Nelson. Kip Sabian beating Drew Parker, and Chris Ridgway beating Bubblegum by a submission. The interesting thing from this thing is it wasn't actually a Lucha Forever show. Because Lucha Forever sort of barely tweeted anything since last week, which is the one where it got cancelled last minute, if you remember what we talked about. So apparently there have been no communication between Lucha Forever and the venue, the Frog and Bucket in Manchester. So the show was going to be cancelled. Clearly something happened with the money situation because Desmond Xavier tweeted, due to circumstances that arose, myself and Zachary Wentz won't be at Lucha Forever. We apologize to those that came to see us and hope to see you all down the road. So I've got a feeling they probably did a show where nobody got paid. Or if they did, they didn't get paid that much. Because IPW had to come in to make the save. So much so that IPW is now managing the social media accounts for Lucha Forever at the minute. Stating, while we did make sure that last night's show went ahead, unfortunately, it's not our job to secure the future of Lucha Forever. We now look forward to huge events next month in Milton Keynes and Rochester. So obviously plugging the IPW shows in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, we're still actively looking at the situation to see if and where we can make a difference for the fans. Thanks to everybody that contributed, especially Tosin, Aegon, and Chris Hatch, who stepped up for IPW last night, Unsung Heroes. And a few hours after that, earlier today, whether this was IPW or not, the Lucha Forever people tweeted, "We'd like to share our great thanks and appreciation to all that have helped and supported us in the past few weeks, whether named or unnamed. We're very grateful. We'll be releasing a full statement in the coming days. Thanks for your patience and understanding." Allegedly, they're doing a show on December the 23rd. Also at the Frog and Bucket. Who honestly knows? My honest feeling is they're doing too many shows too often, because I believe if the shows that got cancelled and had to be done by IPW got put on, this promotion, which only started like in about February or March, had 3 shows in the space of a month. You know, if AIW had to take 9 weeks off because they couldn't afford to do it, plus they wanted to give fans a break, it makes sense. You know, a young company like that is nowhere near the size of Progress. Because what, Progress is 5 years old now, technically? And okay, they're doing shows every couple of months, but... No, sorry, they're doing shows every couple of weeks, if not sometimes bi-weekly. At least twice a month, sometimes even 3 times a month. I think most companies can't keep that sort of schedule, so I don't know what happened there. So Southside Wrestling had a double header. Kaylee Ray won the Queen of the Ring tournament, beating Tony Storm with the first round using the ropes after a Casey Owens distraction. Then Kaylee Ray beat Lana Austin, the Queen of Southside champion, so by default the title sort of gets vacated for the final, with Casey Owens attacking Austin. Casey Owens herself had to go through the Session Moth and Sienna, although Sienna apparently lost by DQ because Casey attacked her. Well, no, Kaylee Ray hit Casey with a chair, so Casey won by DQ, and Kaylee Ray won anyway, so whatever. And then trying to see, I think there weren't any title matches in the other one by the looks of it. Well, apparently Rosemary and Robbie X are going to be in a Sheffield street fight somewhere down the line. And the Session Moth and Joseph Connors are still the tag champs. Progress from the Electric Ballroom. The Ginny Dahlia Black no DQ match was apparently pretty crazy. Ginny came out dressed like Jimmy Havoc, considering that, you know, he trained her. That sort of makes sense. Ginny won with a Styles Clash on a chair. Then also interestingly, Strangler Davis's Atlas title shot was lost because Timothy Thatcher beat him. Also, we had Eddie Dennis basically challenging Travis Banks to a Progress World title match somewhere down the line. So yeah, the Valhalla person, the masked person, turned out to be Rob Lynch that distracted Strangler Davis. Then Thatcher faced Chris Ridgway because he wanted to wrestle twice, I guess. And CCK lost the tag belts to grizzled young veterans of Zach Gibson and James Drake. Mainly because I believe this is the one where Kid Lycos dislocated his shoulder and had to be taken to hospital. So basically, Brooks was on his own. Next to C4 wrestling, I don't think there was any. So the number one contender match between Bucks Belmore and Matty St. Jack went to a no contest because Twiggy and Evil Uno interfered. So then then it was announced that both Belmore and St. Jack will be facing Kobe in the evening. I don't think anything else happened with the titles by the looks of it. Keith Lee, Josh Alexander apparently was pretty a good match. Also, LAX / EYFBO beat the Reunited 3.0. And then Kobe Durst beat St. Jack and Bucks Belmar. And yeah, Kobe basically joined the team, I guess, the originals. Because Twiggy, Evil Uno, and Frankie the Mobster were there, and the champ, as he is, who retained, has joined them. So he's a baddie now, apparently. Smash Wrestling. The title matches there. Tyson Dukes beat Joe Hendry and Brent Banks on 2 consecutive nights to retain the Smash Wrestling title. For AEW's Hell on Earth, To Infinity and Beyond retain the tag belts over the boys from Jollyville, because I can't call them the Jollyville Fuckets anymore, and the Young Studs. And Nick Gage beat Tim Donst in a Fans Bring the Weapons match. So Nick Gage is AEW Absolute Champion. Who the man? I guess he did a demand or something. AAW show this past week had Phoenix retaining the heavyweight title over Jimmy Jacobs in about 15 minutes. And DJZ beating Penta to become the new Heritage Champion. So we did have a title change there. Beyond Wrestling and Powerbomb TV and whatever had a set of shows. Jonathan Gresham retaining the Powerbomb Independent title over Nick Gage because of countout. Because lol. And then for the Beyond Dark set of matches, David Starr beat Nick Cage in an ODQ match. The most embarrassing loss of Nick Gage's career. Probably. Because, you know, you'd have thought that would have been perfect for him to win, but there you go. Then again, I don't know whether there was interference because I haven't seen the YouTube clip of it. And the tournament for tomorrow for the women was won by Jordan Grace. So this coming week, 2 free shows happening from PCW, Preston City Wrestling. This Friday, I think there's limited tickets still available for the Blackpool Tower Ballroom show, featuring T-Bone defending the PCW heavyweight title against Yestin Reese, the former champ, in a street fight, along with Joey Janela versus the Invisible Man, because technically they are booking this as Joey Janela's Big Top Adventure. Also, apparently the Knight family are going to be beating the shit out of each other. So far, we've got Ricky's name, we've got Soraya's name, we've got Roy, and we've got Ricky Jr. But basically, any member of the Knight family could be involved in this match. Probably not Paige. It's the only one I think we can rule out, I would argue. Also, apparently, Virgil's going to be at this show, Owen. Hide your money. They're also doing a show partly as part of Wales Comic Con in Wrexham on Saturday. Again, this is a free show. But with both of them, you basically just pay the ticket processing fee, which is like £2.50. But you're getting a full show with a full sort of the main roster of talents. The main event, at least that we know of the matches and out so far, will be Yestin Reese and Philip Michael and going one-on-one on T-Bone versus Sheikh El Sham, considering they're in the main event of the ballroom show. Defiant Wrestling, the former WCPW, apparently is going to be on pay-per-view. They have not said a thing about this, and the show is literally 5 days away. So I have no clue. I don't know whether Owen can check the Fight app for me. See whether it's on there. Owen's gone to sleep. The matches that we do know for the actual show in Newcastle, which is the pay-per-view one, I guess. We got Pastor William Evers' debut against Moose. What a weird way to debut. Liam Slater being special guest referee. Travis Banks versus El Ligero. So I guess the bloody stable's already dead for them. Mike Bailey and David Starr has randomly become a best-of-3 series to determine the internet title's #1 contender. The David Starr's winning that. Probably spoilers. Not spoilers. Primate defending the hardcore title against his new sort of friend, Jimmy Havoc. Kaylee Ray defending the women's title against Vader Scott. And Marty Skull defending against Joe Hendry and Martin Kirby. With Stu Bennett in attendance. They're also doing a Birmingham show this coming Tuesday. And then the following week, they're going to be in Leeds on December the 11th and back in London on December the 12th. Because I don't know any more about it, not worth talking about anymore. Rev Pro has got a show in Portsmouth on Saturday. Basically, it's some of the up-and-comers from the academies and whatever, because it is entitled Contenders 17. The big show is on Sunday. Their London Cockpit roughly monthly shows. As part of this one, the only title match as it stands is Ryan Smile defending the Cruiserweight title against Flash Morgan Webster. And then also Aussie Open face Josh Bodom and Zach Gibson. Whoever wins that match faces Mustache Mountain for the Rev Pro tag belts as part of the Uprising show next weekend. Along with some other matches. Fight Club Pro has its Infinity tournament. So it's basically 8 people in 4 one-on-one matches. And then I think it's either single, full, or elimination 4-way. The 8 people is a pretty incredible list. For probably what Fight Club Pro can get because of deals and situations. So we got Travis Banks, Dan Maloney, Amari, Jordan Devlin, Kaylee Ray, Mark Davis, Carl Fletcher, and Millie McKenzie. The other thing, they're not advertised. We don't know what match they're having yet, but apparently Loki, Eddie Kingston, and Homicide are showing up. It's always fun. Next to Rise, so the sort of, I guess, spin-off of Shimmer, another women's show. Basically, it's sort of, as it says in their sort of Facebook title, developing tomorrow's women's athletes. So Rise 6 Brutality is happening. I think there's no tickets available. They've sold out for both these shows. It is available though on Rise's website as an iPay-per-view. I think it's about $10 to get. So the matches as it stands is an intergender elimination 4-on-4 tag with Team Lucha Queen comprising of Taya Valkyrie, Andrew Everett, and 2 mystery people versus Team Zombie Princess of Captain Jimmy Jacobs and Ruby Reyes and 2 mystery people. There's a barbed wire bat match between Dust and Lufisto. Chris Wolf taking on Shotzi Blackheart. Tony Storm defends the World of Stardom title against Mercedes Martinez. And the Phoenix of Rise title was on the line in a steel cage with Delilah Doom defending against Rosemary. The thing is, the following day, Medusa, yes, that one, apparently she's got a fucking podcast. Everybody's got a podcast. So she's doing a podcast recording, but in the middle of it, there's also going to be wrestling matches, which they're entitling Rise 6.5. So Medusa's going to be interviewing Tony Storm and Chris Wolf and Mercedes Martinez and Bull Nakano. The 3 matches that are happening, we got Mercedes Martinez versus Chris Wolf. Tony Storm defending the SWA title against Shotzi Blackheart. And then whoever wins that steel cage match between Doom and Rosemary defends the day after against Deonna Purrazzo. Smash Wrestling this Sunday has its Can USA Classic, which is the chance for the women to shine in Toronto. So yeah, it's 7 matches supposedly that are Team America versus Team Canada. So we got Vader Scott versus Danya, Dominic Fabiano versus Giselle Shaw, Jordan Grace taking on Alexa Nicole, Samantha Heights versus Jules Malone, Cheerleader Melissa taking on Xandra Bale, Mercedes Martinez versus Rosemary, and Ali versus Gail Kim. Yes. The main event of this America versus Canada match has 2 Canadians from Toronto in it. What the shit? CWF Mid-Atlantic's Christmas special happening this Saturday in Gibsonville, North Carolina. On the main event of this one is Rick Converse and Chet Sterling teaming up to take on Eric Royal and Roy Wilkins. So yeah, the Aftermath reforms to try and take on the All-Stars for their interference at the Ultimate Survivor deal. There will also be some title matches. Zayn and Dave Dawson will be defending their tag titles against a yet-to-be-determined person, and also Jesse Adler puts the TV title up for grabs again. We don't know who against who. ACW, as part of the WWN banner, has its Yuletide beatings. The only match we know is Paro defending the ACW heavyweight title against Mitch Mitchell. So good they named him twice in Port Richey, that show. Yeah, that's all we know. It's on WWNlive.com if you did want to see it. On Twitch this Saturday, I guess if the Wi-Fi is good enough in Waukesha, Wisconsin, Blizzard Brawl Homecoming is happening. The reason, well, we'll get to the homecoming bit in a minute. We've got a hardcore war with Tommy Dreamer versus Abyss. Al Snow teams up with Swoggle to take on the Spirit Squad, or as they have to be called, the Squad. Joey Mercury takes on Austin Aries. By the way, he is from Waukesha, Wisconsin, so it's the first time he's ever wrestled in his hometown. And then I guess what is the main event, sort of because of the stature of it, Lisa Marie Varon takes on Candice Michelle in Candice's last ever wrestling match. So she's hanging up the boots. MVP Carlito and Little Guido are apparently going to be part of the show as well. Also on Saturday, AAW are going to be doing another show at the Knights of Columbus Hall in LaSalle, Illinois. Legacy, it's entitled. Is it got anything to do with Jigsaw? Probably not. So we got the semi-final for the Women's Championship tournament with Candice LeRae versus Jessica Havoc. Whoever wins that's pulling double duty because they're in the finals the same night against Evilise and Rachel Ellering. We've also got Matt Fitchett and Davey Vega, the besties, defending the tag belts against Shane Strickland and Keith Lee. DJZ puts the Heritage title up for grabs against Ethan Page. We've also got Trevor Lee and Hurricane Helms 1-on-1. David Starr versus Jimmy Jacobs. Matt Riddle versus ACH. AR Fox, Myron Reed, and Sammy Guevara in a triple threat. And a triple threat tag team bout as well with Trey Miguel and Stephen Wolf versus OOE4K and the third team being the Hooligans. Space Monkey's on the show as well, but he isn't advertised. This is annoying. And then the big one, the season finale for Shikara. I would argue it's the big one. Officer Warren Barksdale versus Grant Akuma. Barksdale going for his third point. Des Peloton versus Oleg and Kobold. The Rumblebees versus Defarge and Crummels. Mark Angelo Setti versus Hala Wicked. The interesting situation with this is Hala Wicked has 3 points. So if Hala Wicked loses, he loses actually a chance to go for the championship. Complicated situation. Cyberhawk 2000 face Hermit Crab and Cajun Crawdad with Crab and Crawdad having the opportunity to get their third point to challenge for the tag belts. The Lucha de Apuesta deal between Hype Rockwell and Race Jackson. The interesting deal here is if Hype Rockwell wins, he gets 3 points. But the other stipulation, the Lucha de Apuesta is rather reverse. Because in this situation, whoever loses must wear a mask. That's an interesting gimmick. It is worth noting, and I don't think I mentioned it last time when they had the shows, the triple header of shows last week before Thanksgiving. 17, a guy who hasn't been here for years, showed up and attacked the fake Assyrian portal or the pseudo Assyrian portal. So whether that's Ophidian and he's just using that gimmick or whatever, who knows? But they don't seem to be in action this week, but I wouldn't be surprised if they cropped up somewhere. And then the big one, Juan Francisco de Coronado defends the Grand Championship against Dasha Hatfield. Is Dasha getting the glory? See, what I think is going to happen is Dasha Hatfield is going to win. And then because Murloc has like 5 points or whatever, the encore match is basically going to be him just squashing Dasha Hatfield or something. And Murloc's going to be champion, and that's how we end on a depressing note, I guess. Who knows? Come to think of it, let me have a quick look. Because Shikara are starting to... Yeah. They're coming back at the end of January to do a show Odd Royal Rumble weekend. By the looks of it as well, the theme for next year's Shikara is Goosebump books. Because we've got Beware the Snowman, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, Go Eat Worms, Egg Monsters from Mars, It Came from Beneath the Sink, and Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. They're all the ones that they're advertising are all the shows that are scheduled to happen in the usual home of Shikara, which is the Wrestle Factory. So no word yet on what's happening with King of Trios. If it's randomly in the UK again, holy shit. But yeah, if you want to get tickets and you are in the area and can't get tickets to NXT and whatever, Shikara ain't too bad, and it's not that far away. And I think, let me have a look at the time. Yeah, they're actually doing the show so you can actually go to the show and then go to NXT if you do want to. So I think House of Hardcore is doing a show that weekend as well. That'll be literally going head to head probably with NXT, come to think of it. So yes, we're getting sort of into the territory of some of these promotions having their last show of the year. So I say some of the stuff is winding down, but that being said, I should probably quickly check. Because I haven't heard anything from PWG yet about whether they're doing another show this year. Because the schedule's sort of looking like they might not be able to. Which is a little concerning. But there you go. I think with that, we're done. We're done.
That's going to be our show today. So once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, whether live or on archive. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at Ashes My Name UK.
Gaming with Ash should be returning soon. Sip and Snack is returning.
I need to send that over in the next few minutes.
Sip and Snack will actually be returning. It might return next week. I think Gaming with Ash actually taking the spot tomorrow. Check your local listings for time. AJ's movie reviews coming at you this coming week. Should have reviews of Roman J. Israel Esquire and Coco. That's tentative right now. With AJ, I never can tell what he's going to review at this point because it's sporadic. It really is. Brand new versus coming at you this weekend. Drinking with Diego going to be starting in December, so stay tuned for that. And we still got Popcast to do. Halloween Horror Nights still hasn't finished up yet. We're still going to bring up one more before it's all said and done. Back here next Monday night for the Monday Night Raw Popcast. Next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast. And back here for Sip and Snack as well. So
holy shit. I'm just seeing this poster apparently as part of Jimmy Lloyd's birthday party at some show. It's Blackwood, New Jersey. So I'm guessing that's Game Changer.
Perhaps.
They've just announced Nick Gage versus Penta. Oh no. Somebody's going to actually die. Jesus.
Yeah, I think I'm also seeing another match got added for Final Battle.
Oh.
If I'm reading this correctly. Make sure I got this right. Yes.
Which is?
It's going to be the Hung Bucks against Flip Gordon, Dragon Lee, and Titan for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team belts.
Oh, nice. The MWL.
Adding to Matt Taven against Will Ospreay, the World Television title elimination 4-way between Shane Taylor, Silas Young, Punishment Martinez, and the current champion Kenny King. The Motor City Machine Guns defending the Ring of Honor tag team titles against the Best Friends. Non-title IWGP Heavyweight.
We didn't even mention the fact that, I mean, it's starting in about a few minutes. If you are in the Central Time Zone, apparently Ring of Honor is actually on a new stadium, as of Wednesday. So you can probably tune into that and see the one that we talked about last week.
Marty Scurll, the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, takes on Jay Lethal, and in the main event, Cody defends the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title against Dalton Castle. So,
more about that in 2 weeks.
That's right. We will be covering that as we always do here on the network with our Ring of Honor podcast. And that's going to be your show. So, Ashley, we're going to find you on Twitter as always. And I want to thank you for joining us again tonight. Thanks, everyone, for joining us as well. And as always, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you've chosen a Popcast. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Follow me on Twitter at Sir Disney. Follow the network at Popcast Network. Check out our Facebook fan page of Popcast Network. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Mean Gene.
And
What are you
maybe
gonna
like a
say?
6-iron. And of course, his partner, the Avalanche. You two went at it a little bit earlier.
I'm not talking.
Oh shit.
Macho Man